Since last time you were on, you've now moved into the Jake Paul world of novelty.
That's messed up, man. It's messed up. Jake Paul. Come on, man. I was an athlete at least.
Oh, I know it, dude. I'll tell you, whatever that gets figured out, it's pretty impressive.
No, man, I agree. I think people who hate on those guys, it's just funny. It's like, it's entertainment. Is that not entertaining? I was entertained. I didn't want to buy that fight, and I did. I bought both of them. I bought the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, and then I bought the Logan Paul Mayweather, and I was like, I'm not going to do it. And I pulled the trigger last minute. I was like, I got to watch it.
Other than I'm not capable to stay up late enough to watch the actual main event.
Yeah.
It's incredible what they've done. And with yours, how does this opportunity come about? Because I knew when Thor and Eddie got asked just from being homies. Mm-hmm. Then they filled the rest of the card out. Yeah,
it was crazy. So it was all like, I literally just started going into a boxing gym a little over a year ago. And I was like, this is really fun. I really enjoy this. This is awesome. And I wanted to just kind of change it up. I knew that I wasn't going to be competing in CrossFit. I wanted to get into something else. And boxing is something I've always wanted to learn. I love combat sports. Grew up wrestling, as I've said before on previous podcasts and stuff. So I love combat sports. And so striking was something I always really wanted to get into. Found a boxing gym. About 2 months later, my manager's like, hey, I want to try to get you on a card. And I'm like, what the hell? I literally go, yeah, shut the fuck up, kind of thing. Bullshit. And here we are. here we are. And then like me and Castro, the guy who created the founder, the guy who basically orchestrates the CrossFit Games, kind of came up with the idea of the CrossFit Games and was also one of my instructors when I was training to become a SEAL.
Oh, so we just buds when you were there.
Yeah. He was one of my instructors. And so we just kind of started chirping at each other because I knew that he was he liked boxing, and he did a little bit growing up. And I was like, let me just give this guy some shit online, and people loved it. And then we just started going back and forth, and that was the first person we asked when it came to, hey, we have this opportunity. Would you want to be on the card? It was going to be me versus Dave. And he just said he didn't have the time. And then we found Hepner, and Hepner said yes. And so
with having to fight shirtless.
Yeah, that was all. I think that was all a joke. But he probably wouldn't. He probably wouldn't want to have to show off those noodle arms.
Whatever, man. Yeah. Whatever that fight thing is. Also, like unless you really have the time to train for it. Like, I know that right now, like, if someone was like, hey, man, do you want to go fight Josh Bridges for X amount of dollars and do this thing? I'd be like, how far out is it?
Right.
Do I currently have the time to not get the shit beat out of me by preparing for it? And then if you don't have the time, committing to it's such a bad look.
It would just, you'd look like Ben Askren against Jake Paul, who literally made his money fighting. And, his life was built around fighting. I know he wasn't a striker, but still, man, it looked really bad.
It looked really bad twice.
Yeah, really bad. 2
fights were not great.
No, I agree. Yeah, it was disappointing because Ben Askren actually, he wrestled at Mizzou, which, from St. Louis, being there, I was like, I rooted for him. And it just sucked that he didn't look like he put much effort into it. I don't even know if Jake Paul is a better athlete, whatever. It just looked like Ben Askren was there to make money. And that just sucked.
It looked like that, right? And at least I heard Ben Askren, if that's the case, and he's like, fuck it, I'm catching my paycheck and call it a day. Mm-hmm. Good on you. If you can sleep at night and feel that way, good work, dude. I'd have a tough time swallowing that.
But, yeah, I don't think I could. I don't think I could just go in for the paycheck and not hold my head up high at the end.
And I don't know what his training is. I have no idea. He may have really gone for it, but as I've seen a lot of athletes in my life, he didn't look in shape.
No. And I know that he was coming off a hip surgery.
Yeah, sure, but fuck.
No, I know. Agree completely.
That's also the best paycheck he's probably ever made.
For sure. Guaranteed.
So his last 2 paychecks have been great, and he's fighting for no seconds. It's been right.
Seriously. Just crushing it. Total of 14 seconds of fighting for, probably a couple $1 million. No big deal.
Speaking of, you guys' event has now changed quite a bit. Because
CrossFit?
Well, no, the fight.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was a big announcement this week.
CrossFit.
I'm like, huh? That was such a bummer to hear, man. I got that phone call and, Eddie tore his bicep, which sucks. They showed the video. I was like, ooh, that looked like it hurt a little bit.
They have to show all that, right? Because everyone will be like, fucking pussy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like you didn't prove anything to anyone.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I'm like, didn't have to show up, but I kind of got why he did. And so it was crazy that he got the surgery with being awake.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. I actually got my elbow scoped in the end of 19. And I actually remember asking the doctor if that was something that I could do, like where I was in more of like a twilight stage instead of just being completely under. And he said, he's like, we have to put you in too weird of a position. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But
yeah, I know. I tried like throughout my run of surgeries because like I was getting put under pretty regular.
Yeah.
That I was trying to like, hey, can I not go under anesthesia for the 4th time this year? That would be.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to shake it off.
Dude, it does.
Brain turned off like that. It's totally a different thing. That freaks me out. The idea, right? That's what Michael Jackson did to sleep every night. Like propofol, just oof. You've got to be operating in a very strange twilight.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
We bought our tickets to the fight, man. We're coming.
Hell yeah. Well, good. I'm excited to see you guys there. It's going to be fun, man. I'm so excited for that fight. Training hard and things are looking good. And, at the end of the day, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to throw blows and we're going to try to not get hit and hit. So it's going to be fun.
As an athlete, right? Like, and I talked to Steffi about it too. I'm like, you know how cool this is, right? That because you guys are fit enough and can learn a sport fast enough and you are high level enough at another thing, that because the way the world works right now, like, you get to have that experience of walking into like a big professional fight.
I know. It's mind blowing.
That like, breathe it in. Because like talking to Steffi, right? Because now she's already had one fight. She went down to the Dominican Republic and got in.
Yeah, saw that.
What a rough bit to try to get that fight. Like she flew that girl and her team. They had to take care of the whole thing.
No kidding. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just trying to get any reps.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, they probably to be able to shake off those nerves and like not have to feel that that fight night jitters, maybe a little, or feel them a little bit less because they're a little more familiar. Man, it's probably a good idea.
You know what I mean? Like, I would prefer my first at bat in baseball not be at the World Series.
Right.
Glad I've got some repetition under my belt. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Yeah, it's going to be different. Like, I mean, I've been under the lights at the CrossFit Games where I've seen a lot of people. I've been on the state floor for wrestling. Obviously, it's high school; it's a very different scenario. But there was still a pretty big crowd there, and it's a one-on-one competition. So I kind of have that a little bit of experience with the one-on-one stuff. But this is going to be a whole different level, and it's
I can't wait to watch.
Me too. I can't wait. I was so looking forward to Thor and Eddie. I mean, basically taking their
happen at some point, right? Like,
I know. That was actually the only positive I could even think to take from it. Is like, well, there's going to be another fight, so maybe I can get on that card too. Who knows?
I mean, oh God, and like the Hepthor Eddie thing, concern ourselves with whatever we want of it. This is the only chance we've ever gotten to see King Kong versus Godzilla.
Seriously, it's exactly what it is.
Train for it, and like they're making enough money that they can really train for it. Mm-hmm. They're making enough money that if you're not prepared, you've made a real fuck up.
Yeah, you've messed up big.
They seem to both be going for it.
Yeah, I mean, Thor and Eddie both. I mean, they look like they're 100% in, and that's awesome, man. It's awesome to see because it's not just going to be each of them getting tired and then kind of dragging out. I don't even know how many rounds theirs is. Do you know?
The full 3 5 minute. Sorry. Yeah. What are you guys doing?
We're doing 6 threes. So I don't know if that's what Eddie and Thor were doing as well.
I don't know. I would imagine everyone's probably going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it's all going to be 6 threes as well. I think you're right, probably, if I had to guess.
Like watching Hapthor's the other fights he's taken now, wildly impressive that he's not gassed. Like that's the biggest takeaway that I've seen is just like, yo, I can't believe that you've built a big enough engine to handle getting oxygen to that thing.
Getting oxygen to that amount of like muscle and mass is an incredible feat in itself.
It has to feel like driving a tank. Like just walking around
driving a Rhino.
Like I don't know how a truck feels versus like a Prius. So like I assume it feels similar in life.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, man. It's like swimming carrying a rucksack behind you, as opposed to swimming in Speedos.
Other than having the big cardiovascular engine coming into this, how has the training been?
It's been good, man. It's been good. It's, I'm starting to spar more and, starting to feel comfortable with actually seeing punches and trying to dodge them and not just take them on the face and be like, oh, okay, I should have moved. Oh yeah, here's another one. That was like, I literally called it face conditioning for a while. I'm like, this is just face conditioning. There's nothing else to call this because I'm just taking punches to the face. This is great. But like actually like being able to and then being able to counter or make adjustments in mid round, throwing combinations, changing it up, head to body to head. Getting your footwork dialed in, understanding like where I need to be standing, distance wise, right? Creating that space and then getting inside. And because, I'm a little bit shorter than Hepner, not by much. Hepner's not that tall. I think he's only a couple inches taller than me. So, but still, like when you have a little bit of reach, it's an advantage. And so, I have to figure out how to work around that and where I need to be. And I've gotten some great coaching on it. And so it's been really good.
Yeah. It seems like I got to do just a little bit of it. And I think it's something I'll return to. And it was immediately really fun. I'm really glad that like I have a heavy bag now and stuff set at the gym and I know enough to at least run a couple rounds and to work a heavy bag as part of training.
Yeah. It's a great workout.
Very, very quickly learned how like little prepared I am to deal with someone in a physical altercation. Like anytime anyone's ever sideline coached a UFC thing, like get the fuck out of here.
Dude, I have learned very quickly that everybody thinks that they know how to be a boxer. It is way worse than any other. I mean, CrossFit is bad. CrossFit is like people just tell you how stupid what you should be doing and all this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Boxing is 1,000 times worse. Everyone thinks they know how to throw a punch. Everyone. And you're like, yeah, I thought I did too until I actually had the opportunity to try to do it. And then you're like, this is insanely hard. This is insanely weird and like different and more skilled than I ever thought it was.
Yeah. Fuck it. It's such a crazy thing. Like, Bonnie and I talked about it a little bit and talking with other people, like I've competed forever, but I've never done a combat sport. Like I never wrestled. I never did any of that. And I've never had to, it's me versus you.
Right.
It's like even throwing's an individual sport, but how far you throw doesn't really affect how far I throw. I don't have to dodge out of the way of your thing.
You're right.
And so I've never got to compete in anything like that. And so I bet that on. And then like the flow state of that sport has to be such an overwhelming feeling if you can get to it. And then winning in front of a crowd with that sport, there can't be anything like it. Like I bet that's why guys never leave.
Yeah. I mean, I could see the addiction to it for sure. Like you're literally trying to impose your will on someone else and make them quit before you do. It's crazy. It's not what's that?
Or turn them off.
Yeah, exactly. Or put them to sleep, and like make them go night. And man, it's a crazy, it's a crazy feeling. It's a crazy thought to even think about doing it, right? Like we're literally going into a ring and trying to knock each other out. That's the goal.
It's fucking dangerous.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
We saw that in the amateur fights when who was the basketball player that came in? I think was the first guy to fight Jake Paul.
Yeah, I got knocked out like quick.
Embarrassing. And like,
yeah,
got hit a couple hard times and hit the ground hard. Like, was asleep when they got him out of the ring.
Yeah, man. It's real deal.
Hang out.
It's very all it has done training for this is respected anybody that's ever stepped into the ring, right? Like, I mean, you can't deny it. It takes courage. It takes guts. It takes, so much guts to go and do it, right? Like you can't go into it lax. And if you do, you're going to get exposed very, very quickly.
Man, and there's no doubt about it. There's nowhere to hide in that environment, right? You don't have a teammate who's real good.
You can't really run around away from it because it's confined.
Your best bet to like boring win is be Floyd Mayweather, which means you've somehow developed the unreal skill that Manny Pacquiao can't hit you.
Right. I don't think I'm there.
If we were like, and go. It's like,
right. You want to hear something funny? Is I'll even like, I got my little guys, my two kids. Well, I'll have them kind of start to do. I'll hold mitts for them and try to teach them the things that I'm learning because I think it was such a cool skill, and I wish I would have had something like that growing up. And so, but then I'll put on the gloves and I'll just try to basically try to dodge his punches. And he's 11, and he's like he's hit me so hard twice where I'm like, oh wow, hold on, buddy, hold, give me a second.
Those short arms, though, man, they're killers. The gloves go to the elbow.
Using those hips, man. He's like, yeah, Dad, how about me have to not make my bed anymore? Wow. Like.
Man, I saw a clip you posted recently of your kids were playing golf.
Yeah.
And like, it's always neat seeing kids that you can tell develop like physical ability and athleticism early. Because they move like adults and athletes. And like watching a golf club, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because you grab it and look like Charles Barkley, which is crazy to me. But when it's fluid on a kid, you're like, fascinating.
Yeah, it's been incredible to watch and see him, grow. And like, this is our first year kind of playing golf. We've gone to the driving range, and now I'm kind of actually bringing him on the course. And it's just something that I love to do. And I have tried to get them to enjoy it. And I don't want to force them to do anything. And so I'm like, hey, do you guys like, you want to go try to play golf? And did. And man, like, I am so impressed with how well they hit the ball, because I have so many friends that I'll take out golfing, and it's like, it's painful to go golfing with them because they suck so bad.
Right. There's like a certain level that like, can you do this enough to play golf, or do you have to be in the cart?
Right. Tell you what, you hold my beer.
Right. You want to watch me play golf today?
Yeah. You can come along and drink. It'll be fun. Yeah, it's tough. And so it's been really fun. And yeah, that they've been playing sports, since they were babies. And so at 5 and 3, they both got into wrestling. They're not really wrestling anymore. They've kind of fallen off of that, and I'm not going to force them to do it because wrestling is not a sport you force a kid to do. And because if you do, he's going to hate it. And he's going to quit in another year anyways. And so, I'm going to let them take some time off, and maybe they'll come back to it. If not, they at least got those skills, those life lessons as very young kids, because I think that wrestling is such a great sport to build discipline and a lot of those, great characteristics for like young kids and young athletes in general, right? Not being able to rely on other people, it's you and another person out there on the mat. And so that's been fun. They play baseball now. They're really enjoying baseball. And so, yeah, whatever they want to do, I'm good with. And if it's not sports, it's not sports.
Right. I think about that. Like I get asked that now, was I, expected to play sports? And I guess kind of, I don't ever remember deciding I'm going to play sports. I just remember that we had soccer practice at some point.
Right.
I had to go to that. Wasn't ever up for debate. But I don't ever remember complaining and disliking it either. So I have no idea like what that would have been as a kid, or like I sure as shit wasn't asked the first time.
Right. And I think it's hard to like at like 5, it's hard to ask them because they don't even know. Right. So it's like, hey, do you want to go play soccer? You don't even know what soccer is. Yeah. What does that mean? So, yeah, for me, it was more like you're going to get involved in sports at a young age, and then it's going to become your decision which ones you choose, or even if it isn't sports, but you're going to do something outside of sitting in the house and, playing video games or watching TV. We're going to do other things. Like, don't get me wrong. If you want to watch TV, that's all good. You can do that. And we do watch TV, but I think getting them into sports. What's that?
You guys watch TV. Not total freaks. We do normal things like you do.
Right.
Now, I'm excited to hear, like, so you did college sports, right? You
wrestled.
I thought you played baseball too, but no,
not in college. That baseball was growing up through high school.
Gotcha. And man, I think you see people that do that, like, oh, my kid has some piece of potential, and then they start hammering them with sports. It's this like serious specificity at such a young age, and they think that's the difference. And I've never believed that as an athlete, that like, they need to be doing as many different things at that age. The specificity, like, you only get so long to be sports specific. You don't waste that when you're 10.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I think that for me, that's the ideology I believe in as well, as the same thing as what you're saying. I think that kids need to touch a bunch of different sports. Not only does it develop more well-rounded athletes, it's going to develop more muscles. It's going to develop more skills. It's going to develop more coordination. I think when you go into such a sport specific at a young age, it's probably when you're going to see more injuries, right? You're having in any sport, you're going to have overusage, right? You're going to have that, like, oh, I have actually noticed it playing baseball my whole life. For my young part of my life, my right side of my body is so much more overdeveloped than my left side. And guess what? My left, yeah. I mean, you were a thrower, right? I mean, my left, and guess what's injured? My left elbow and my left knee. It's weird.
My right,
yeah,
but my left shoulder, for whatever reason, is definitely the next between that or my hip. But the left shoulder, I have no idea. And I didn't do anything with him.
Yeah, everything was on my right side. You would think that the injuries would come from the right side, but it's like, it's the opposite. I'm like, this is crazy. And so, like, I'm having my kids, because they play baseball and it's like their main sport, I'm definitely having them focus on that left side, doing a lot of, I actually do have them do some specific workout stuff for it, because, I don't want it to be lateral. Yeah. Just to be more balanced, and see if it helps. What's weird? And I don't know if this correlates or not, but like the left side of my face, the left side of my hair, it all, like, my right side is thicker. My right side of my mustache is thicker than my left side. And if you like, I notice it, and I think it's really strange.
You think it's just malnourished from not enough reps like the other side?
Yeah, that's what I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird though. The right side. So I don't have a lot of hair on my body, but I do have a little bit of armpit hair, very little. But my right side has more than my left. It's weird, man. I'm telling you.
I'll have to give myself a comparison. I wonder if it's something weird, like just because you've slept on that side of a bed.
Yeah, maybe.
And most nights on that side, it would get more friction from pillow and everything else, right? Like, so.
Could be. Yeah. That could be it too. I don't know. I noticed it though, and I'm like, that's really strange.
Yeah. There's things on the body that occasionally pop up, and it's like, what did that come from?
Oh, yeah.
We're not very strong. We're not incredibly resilient creatures, despite what we do.
Oh, agreed.
Especially the older we get. Like, I don't know about you, man, but I think about like playing back high school football, and at that point in my life, that's probably the most resilient as a person I ever felt. Like, at that point, like, I'm running at full speed into other humans. I fall down 30 or 40 times a day, and that's not a big deal. Like, I don't have to tell someone later I fell down and now can't walk. It happened as a surprise at this point in my life. Like, man, I bet if you were able to keep that in your system with some jujitsu, some type of combat sport, some activity, or light gymnastics, whatever it could be, like, what a difference that would have to make to your body's resiliency versus, would you like to sit in a chair for 8 hours?
Right. No, man, I agree. I think I remember like being a young kid and being in high school and like jumping out of barns, as far as I could. Right. I'm thinking in my head, like,
They were hot.
How in the hell did I not break every bone in my body? I was doing box jumps just the other day on the ring, and like the sweat was starting to build up, and I slipped, and I literally like came off and landed on my back, and I felt like a rhino that got like speared and like hit the ground and slid. I was like, oh my God. I had to take a minute, I'm sitting there laying on the ground. I'm like,
I can't take unexpected falls anymore.
No, it's awful.
I think about just people skateboarding or any of that. And there's part of my brain that's like, oh, you're an athlete. You can take a fall, like you can roll with it. And I've been very, very lucky with a lot of stuff like mountain biking or any of that, because I'm good enough at falling to not get hurt.
Right. It's a skill. It's a skill for sure. Every time I get on a trampoline with my kids, which I don't do very often, but every once in a while, I'm like, they'll be like, come on, Dad, let's go to one of those jump trampoline places, or, we'll be at a place and, they'll be like, come on.
Those places when I was a kid.
Dude. Right. Yeah. And so now anytime I get off of it, sorry, go ahead.
I had like Mr. Gaddy's Land was the only place that had to crawl through.
Right. What was those? I don't even remember what, like they were. It was like Chuck E. Cheese's. We didn't have any trampoline places. No. Those places are awesome.
They're awesome.
But anytime I leave there, I'm just like, anytime I get off a trampoline, I'm just like, thank you, God. Like I'm not injured. I'm okay. I made it. I made it.
It's so funny though, right? Because like you're the same guy who's doing this, like doing a fight and like work, like all this crazy stuff. Meanwhile, like anything kids do on a regular basis that involves just like getting shit whipped into the ground is so not okay.
Not even a little bit. Like, not even a little bit, man. Kids are so resilient. Like their bones, they're just so like they pop right back up, and they cry maybe for a minute or two, but then they're good and they're out there playing again just as hard as they were. Where I'm like, I'd be down hard, icing something right now, like 800 milligrams of Motrin in the body already.
Oh man, like I have a cooling mattress topper and an eye mask. I have two things that help me do nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how soft my life is, Josh. Like
I said, oh my gosh, that is hilarious that you literally just said that, because I went and did this fundraising event, and people are like, and it was 30 hours straight of like doing work, basically working out for 30 hours straight. And we're talking and people, and I'm like, you guys have no idea how soft I am. I'm like, on my phone right now, I could put my bed temperature to 65 degrees. That's how soft I am. You know what I mean? Like,
and not living without that.
Right. It's so hilarious. I said that exactly. I'm like, that's how soft I've become. I can change my temperature on my mattress right now.
Like, sand in the stuff I'm sleeping in. It's fine.
Right.
That's all I've ever heard from like my military friends are like, I'm good on sand. Like I've dealt with enough of it. If I don't have to deal with sand ever again, I'm fine.
Dude, sand is no thanks. I hate that. It's actually like I live in San Diego. The beach is 15 minutes away from my house. I think I've gone, this year has kind of been the year I've gone the most, probably in the 13 years I've been. And I'm like, every time I go, I'm like, why do I come here? I'm like, there's sand everywhere. It's terrible. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't enjoy. I don't even get in the water for very long. It's like, what is the point of this?
Especially like I remember like Jeff Nichols, the other Navy SEAL buddy I've got. Like he's the same way. He's like, nah.
Yeah, no. I'm good. Yeah. People are like, why are you moving to Colorado? I'm like, because it's not California. There's no sand. It's mountains, man.
Dude, where are you looking at?
Denver. So I've already got a place.
Denver proper.
So, actually Boulder County.
Okay.
So it's in Erie. So a little bit north of Denver, in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes outside of Boulder.
Okay. So Boulder's rad.
Yeah. Boulder's really cool.
You're like northwest.
Northeast.
Okay. Because
northeast of, yes. Or basically straight north of Denver, actually.
But that's right, dude. That's a super cool area.
Yeah. I'm really, really excited. I'm pretty pumped to go. I'm pretty sure it's straight north. I'm just looking.
Building out the compound there.
It's not even really a compound. It's not exactly like, yeah, it's actually directly north where I'm at. It's still in a suburb. I still got young kids. I still want them to have buddies and stuff like that. So, and to be able to, just like be close to everything, but once they're gone, man, yeah, like I'll probably sell that house and move into the woods.
Dude, I've come to this determination as one of the things that like helps me stay motivated is this idea that everything I do is a choice instead of like I had to do whatever it was, no matter like
right.
I can make that decision of like, well, I picked that when I was 10. So we've got where we got. I looked up like cost of living in Bali. It's like you can buy a really dope villa for like $400,000, and then like for the amenities of like a car and driver, a daily masseuse, someone that does all your laundry, a cook, and like laundry puts everything away. Like you,
wow,
nothing, and then someone who cleans your house every day. You can have all of those things. Like $100,000 buys you that for 10 years.
Whoa, 10 years. So like, what? That's $20,000 a year.
I'm like, I'm not sure when I'm gonna move that way, but at some chapter in my life, I want to live like that for a while. And so since I could now technically say, fuck it, sell everything I own and do that,
right?
I have to admit I'm choosing not to live that way. I like the idea of this more.
Yeah, but at some point you're probably not. You're gonna want that 10 years of yeah, right. Have you been to Bali? I've never been.
I haven't yet. We were supposed to be going with like Trova trip with this company in October, but it's been canceled due to things are getting weird again with the COVIDs.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of locking everything down. So it just got postponed for a year. So we'll go next October.
I was supposed to go in 19, and then my surgery kept getting delayed for my knee, my last knee surgery. And it ended up being like 5 weeks it was like 5 weeks out or 5 weeks post knee surgery. And because of the high tibia osteotomy, I was a little nervous of getting on a plane, dude. And like, I felt so awful. I think the people were kind of pissed that I had to cancel on, but I'm like, listen, like
high tib, like, yo, you're still you're not walking yet.
No, yeah, I was on crutches. That's what I told her. I was like, listen, like I'm still going to be on crutches, and you're going to expect me. And the schedule was actually pretty hefty.
Sure.
And I'm like, like you're expecting me to coach classes like all day long. And I was like nervous about blood clotting on the plane and things like that, And I'm asking my doctor, I'm like, hey, like, is this okay? He's like, man, I don't know if I would recommend that. I don't think that's a good idea. So
there's occasion I'm happy to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I don't listen to my doctor all the time, but for life-threatening injuries or things like blood clots, I was like, yeah, I think I will.
I'm not asking him for nutrition advice at this point.
Right.
No fucking clue what they're talking about. They're also not really that into healing after surgery.
Right. Yeah.
It's really strange to like go through all that and still get the recommendations of it's still ice. It's still like stiff, like sit and fucking do nothing.
Yeah. And I understand certain things, right? Like for me, for that high tib, right? That's where they break your bone. And so you actually have to let the bone heal. And so I couldn't understand where everything else, if you talk to guys like Kelly Starrett, which is who I would go to for when I was trying to rehab my knees off the bat. He's like, get that shit off there and start moving it, start getting some blood flow using the stem and everything like that. So, but yeah, that was one time where I was like, they would take my doctor's recommendation for this. I don't know if a 16-hour flight to Bali is the best idea when I'm still on crutches. I was on blood thinners. I was on like all different pain meds still.
That 16-hour flight would have sucked so bad.
Yeah. And I was in a normal like economy,
Yeah, I'm bummed out about going and I don't have crutches.
Right.
It's definitely the hard part of me, like, Bali, huh?
Right. You're also not a small man like me. I'm fun size. You're king size.
Oh, God, man. And I'm way more fun size now than I used to be.
Yeah. Man, you're looking good, bro. You're looking good.
saw 224 this week, which is probably the lowest I've been since I was 16.
Damn. And how old are you now?
38.
Oh, okay. We're the same age. All right. I know we're the exact same age. Did you just turn 38?
Huh?
Did you just turn April? You turned 39 in April?
38 in April.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So it's July. Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
I think it's all around kicking around that same time.
No big deal. Just kicking ass, man.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm just curious more and more, like, what else is this thing capable of doing now? Now that I did my specific sport for a very, very long time and got everything I could out of that, it seems really fucking dumb for me to continue chasing a thing that I've peaked at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'll never lift more. And I'm never going to go further than that guy did. I can't fucking beat him, Father Time. But I've got other abilities that he doesn't have.
For sure.
Different resources of money.
Yeah.
Do more fun adventures. I have food delivered to my house. So, like, okay, where can I kick his ass?
Right. Yeah. There's definitely still ways to kick that dude's ass for sure. I guarantee you.
I'll run him or bike him at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I bet you could. I don't know if there's a bikes that could hold those loads, brother.
Yeah, man, they make them. They're double.
So tell me about the run, man. That the video that you sent was so awesome. I loved it, man. It was really cool.
Thanks, man. I really didn't know that Brant was editing something that big.
Yeah, man, it was well done. It was well put together.
Oof. He kicked the shit out of me with it, man. I was really not okay emotionally for like a little over a day. Because I remember filming all that, and I remember, being in it and being in pain and making those videos. But there was so much positivity because what's your fucking other option?
Right.
You know that we're going forward. So get on board with the fucking process and let's go. And it was really odd for me to see like all 3 years of the really shit dark parts put together. Because for me, I don't remember it being that heavy because I tried to keep my shit together.
Yeah. And everyone has those moments. But
getting to see that and like see my face, right? Because I don't fucking go watch any of that.
Right.
4 years, why would I watch that? And seeing my face, I just remember watching him and just thinking like, oh man, you weren't okay. Like your eyes see that you're not all right. And getting out of that was cool. But the run in general, like getting to go to Bryce Canyon and like that area. And we rented an RV and we drove down from Salt Lake City. And so it's like myself, Bonnie, and Brant, our video guy, and Andy, our photographer. So we drive down there, we document like the day before the run, we document kind of the warm up, we go camp 2 nights, like outside of Bryce Canyon. And so it was this big fun experience. Like the whole thing felt fun, despite that I'm going to go run this thing not very fast. And like that's fine by me. I don't give a shit. That's not what I do it. Like for me as a really explosive athlete, like I just never got to do anything endurance wise. And it was a really cool thing to learn.
Yeah. It's different. It's 100% different, right? Like, I mean, moving an object very quickly in like a second or 2 seconds is cool in its own way. But like having experience where it lasted, what was it? 4 hours? How many?
6.
6 hours. I mean, that's a whole different experience, right? You go through these ebbs and flows of like emotions, like ups and downs and highs and lows. And like, you get to talk to yourself and like have some conversations, some real deep conversations, and like really find out who you are when shit doesn't feel like you want to do it anymore. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, everything's fine. I'm good. Oh, this is great. I'm fucking looking at trees. I'm looking at mountains. It's beautiful. And then 30 minutes later, man, fuck this shit. Like, you get a little like, oh, I got a blister on the back of my fucking heel. I don't like this anymore. Every step hurts. Fuck this. And then again, 30 minutes later, no, man, you're good. No, it's fucking great. I love this shit. It's like, you just have these talks and it's an experience for sure. And it's definitely something that I enjoy, for sometimes, and then sometimes I'll hate it.
Yeah, it's been a new thing to try to lean more into the times that my brain gets really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I don't want to do this anymore, especially with like the run or anything like that. Like there's no reward.
Right.
The only thing was finishing it.
Yeah.
Like,
There's not like,
well, here we are.
there's not people cheering you on being like, look at this guy crushing this walk.
No, right? Like it's only for you.
Yeah.
But that part of it's really cool. It's also really cool how much, like you're saying, it's that time between your ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I need more of that because that's what's going to help me with business development, relationships, growing things on this side of my life as an adult, and trying to be smart and look at things like be able to grind longer, be able to do the long-term work, be able to be patient.
Yeah. Understanding that, that is the process, right? That is the reward in itself, is you getting to find yourself a little bit, right? To like understand your brain a little more, understand your body and how it works and things like that. Man, I just remember getting such great advice when I was in Buds, and we'd had these great mentors. And this one guy was like, I don't know if I said this on one of our last podcasts or not, but one of the mentors was like, everyone's going to have these moments of weakness, right? Where in their brain, it's telling them, hey, you need to fucking stop. You need to shut down. You need to quit. You need to be done with this. And all it is a one split second where you're going to have that moment of weakness. And if you can get past that one little moment, all of a sudden the sun's going to shine again, and it's going to be okay, and you're going to be fine, and you're going to move on. But if you quit in that moment, then you have to deal with that for the rest of your life, right? You have to deal with that decision that you chose not to finish whatever it is that you started. And that's such a great way to think about everything in life, not just physical activities or sports or whatever. It's life in general.
Yeah, I think that. And I think, the other side of figuring that out as an athlete, because like that button I've always had, right? That ability, like we continue ahead.
Charlie Mike.
Right. The button that I've had to figure out how to use is the one that's smarter and says the return on this isn't worth it. And be able to not be stupid and get hurt again.
Right.
Figuring out how to push that thing of wanting uncomfortable and being able to respond to it, but find it in other avenues for me that aren't the physical stuff, but more I have no fucking idea what I'm doing with these 3 businesses that I'm running. I'm just trying to figure it out as fast as humanly possible. And so you're fucking uncomfortable because you don't know what you're doing. And that's where anxiety comes from, and trying to lean into like, just trust that you'll figure it out was something that I kept feeling during the run training that I really liked, was that like, we said we're doing 3 hours today. You don't have to run. You don't have to do anything other than keep fucking moving for 3 hours, dummy.
Right.
I'm like, I'll try to talk my way out of it. Like, I love it. I can feel myself negotiate and be like, oh, 3 hours is too much. Like, well, I have this to do, and I have to do these emails later, and like I know none of these tasks take me more than 30 seconds.
but you're giving yourself those outs, eh? Yeah, man.
And like, the hard part with the running part of that is like, I don't know. I wish there was a way that I could train for like what the mental side of the 5th hour of running feels like without having to give you 4 hours to fire.
Exactly.
I find like sauna and cold tub can get there pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, the sauna gets above 160. Like, it's not fun.
Not even a little bit.
Fidgeting, like I'm like, we can't even lay still. And like, okay, in here we're uncomfortable.
Dude, I know I do my sauna just about every night, man. It's at like 200. And dude, the only moment that's good is like if I go in a little cold, and then it's like, and that's like okay for maybe 2 minutes. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not good anymore. This isn't okay anymore. Like, I shouldn't be in here. This is a lot. Yeah, the sauna's tough, man. It's tough to silence that voice of like, what are we doing? It's too hard. I find the sauna is harder than the cold tub. And I don't know if it's just for me, I've definitely like the cold was always something I hated. I used to always say I'd rather be cold or hot and sweaty than cold and wetty any day. Now it's switched, right? Like now I'm like, I'll get in that cold tub. and every morning I'll wake up out of bed and I'll roll right out of bed. I grab a towel and I go straight to it because I know I want to get done with right away, but I have no issues with it. And like, I'll sit in there and I'll do my 20 breaths and I'll be like, okay, I'm fine. And if I need, and I've done 10 minutes before just to do it, just to say I did it. Okay. I did 10 minutes, but man, that sauna at 15 minutes, you're just like, you sit up and you feel your entire back. Just like, it's like someone poured a glass of water down your back because so much sweat is dripping off, and it's like burns your nostrils when you breathe through your nose. And like, even if you're drinking water, it doesn't really do anything. It's miserable.
You're just trying to find something.
Yeah, for anything
that's a distraction, right?
How can I distract my mind for the next 5 minutes so that I don't feel any of this, or that it feels like it's gone really fast?
It's a really interesting thing you're saying about the cold versus the hot. Having had the cold tub for a long time, it's harder for me to get into the cold tub.
Mm-hmm.
To like make that decision of like, we're getting in. Walking into the sauna is a fucking joke. Who gives a shit?
Right.
It's the 20 minutes or 30 minutes that you're uncomfortable in the sauna. Like, you have so much longer exposure to heat than you do to cold. Because even like if I'm sitting in it for 10 minutes, unless something is circulating the water and really trying to fuck with you,
that's bad.
Yeah, you can kind of find a sweet spot, even if it's super cold.
Yeah.
But like, man, yeah, the sauna, once it's bad, like we did this really awful thing Kelly Starrett does, like at his house, where he puts the assault bike in his sauna.
Oh, you've done that?
God, dude.
I've seen, I saw like Lord Hamilton do that and stuff like that.
He stole it from Laird, and Laird has oven mitts.
Right.
Like, because otherwise the metal's too hot, it'll burn his hand. Like, what? Lunatic. And so we did it at Kelly's, and he's got like a little barrel sauna where like there's barely room. Like the bike fits, and then you're kind of hunched over like Gollum on the bench while the other person's cranking. Man, there's no good moment. Because now it's like 180, 190 degrees in there, and that fan is pushing all the air around, and like you just can't hide from it. So like as soon as you get on the bike and start like those first two things, you're dry because it's so dry in there, and now that hot air is blowing on you. But like nothing else I've ever done, as soon as you stop, your skin just fucking explodes. It's trying to cool down so bad, and like you're only on it long enough to hit like max wattage for a second and then switch. So it's like 10-second pop each time. And like we're not rushing each other to get on and off, but we just keep going.
Yeah.
The weird thing is like you're in real trouble and you feel it like that. Like it's hot, and like you're just staring out of the window with these death eyes of like, I need out there. And as soon as you're out there and jump in the pool, it's over. It's completely gone. Like there's no consequence long term from it.
Yeah.
Really weird thing that it's all in your head.
Man, I would think in my head that the breathing the air, like having big heavy breaths, would hurt really bad.
None of it.
Yeah.
You're trying to like cover your mouth, try to like thinking breathing through your shirt to wet it and maybe cool. Like you're all trying to do experiments to not burn every part of your body while you're doing it.
Dude, that shit is crazy, man. But I've like just even
training tool. Not really.
Yeah. Like, what are they thinking? What are the benefits they're saying out of this?
I'm sure mental toughness at some point, but I'm good on that aspect. It's novelty. It's fun to do. It hurts, and that's why we did it.
Okay, all right, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
work into like every Thursday of my program.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, even standing up in my sauna is just painful. Like anything above the seat area, and I've brought in my like a meat thermometer to kind of see, and every foot it drops, it's dropping like 6 degrees. Really? It was at like, at the top of it was at like 220. And like where my face was at was like 200. Where my waist was at was like 190, maybe.
There, hang out by the old balls. It'll be just.
Dude, that's so when it gets really bad, I'm dropping my head for sure. I'm like, okay, I got to get down here. Like this sucks. So I couldn't imagine getting on an assault bike in there, because first of all, now you're at the top of it, and I've cooked meat at 220, It's not a big deal. Like that's what I cooked some tri-tip at. So
good go.
Yeah, dude, that's gnarly. So for me, yeah, getting in a cold tub, you're right. Like if you sit in the same spot and there's nothing circulating that water, like you can just kind of get into a rhythm. But in that sauna, there's nowhere to hide.
And there is a scientific piece that like you're actually heating the water that's just close to you.
Right. It's like a wetsuit, right? That's what a wetsuit does, right? It traps the water next to you.
Something like that. Linden frost, I think is what it's called. But you can also like, if you dip your finger in water and you can slam your finger into like boiling lead and it doesn't burn your finger because the water evaporates and creates a cloud around your finger. Whatever, science stuff. I watch a lot of things I don't understand, but I can kind of recite them poorly.
Good enough I understood it.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, man. So do you think that you'll keep trying to box?
I don't know if I'm like, I'm definitely not going to try to go like professional boxing.
Like I know, Steffi's going into boxing.
Right. Yeah. That's, and it's so cool to watch that and see that, man. Like she's transitioning from being, a 25-time world record holder in powerlifting to being a freak boxer, man. Like good. It's so cool to see. Yeah, I don't think that's not my cards. I'm 38. It's, I think I'm watching these kids. I mean, most of these kids in the gym are early, late teens, early 20s. And
seems like the money's in the novelty boxing anyway.
Yeah, right. Right. Exactly. Like I ain't going to chase. And I'm already thick. I would have to, at my height alone, being 5'5", like I'm boxing 125, 130. Yeah. I couldn't be down there. I weigh 170, I weigh 168. It's like, I couldn't even, I'd have to.
170 is a terrible idea.
Right, I'm shaving muscle off, right? I'm like taking razors and shaving off biceps and quads. I'm like, I make fun of these.
130, Josh.
Like, I've been down there since high school. And that was for wrestling. And that was way before I was lifting weights. Cool. So, I tell these kids in the gym, I'm like, man, you guys need to go eat a cheeseburger or something, dude. Like you guys are just skin and bones, but man, their hands are so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, they can move, man. Like the guys that developed that skill set. It's so cool to watch. Now something I've learned watching it more and like getting to see it and actually do a little bit of training is boxing's way different than fighting. It's totally a sport. It's hand-to-hand fencing. Way more than it is what MMA is.
Very much so.
Those two guys are trying to kick each other's ass.
Yeah.
Whatever the best way possible for that moment is.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there's not a street fighter who shows up and wins a fight against any MMA guy because the ground game.
Right.
Whereas I think it's arguable that you could say Francis Ngannou is one of the scariest guys on the planet currently.
100%.
Being the world's heavyweight boxer, you're very, very good at boxing. I don't know that you can beat up Francis Ngannou in a fight.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in a fight. Yeah, in a fight, no, probably not because
100%.
Yeah. Unless they knock him out immediately, right? Like he goes to take a shot and he catches him, right? I don't know. I don't want to. Francis Ngannou is a scary dude. Mike Tyson in his heyday was a scary dude, and I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to get a street fight with that guy.
No. Dude, Mike Tyson in his peak, man, it's one of the most impressive athletes we've ever got to witness.
It really was. I watch his boxing stuff and I try to like learn, and cause he was obviously always one of the smaller guys for the heavyweight division, but he just had so much power and he'd get inside and it's like, I've had a coach say, it's like, people always want to try to mimic Mike Tyson, but there's only one Mike Tyson for a reason. Like, you're right, man. That dude was crazy.
Was crazy. Was absolutely, he's crazy.
Yeah.
It amazes me that, so I kind of consider guys like us who even fully committed to say a sport during adulthood, whatever second tier professional sports that we got to operate in for a period of time,
right.
Big group.
I'll take them.
100%. It's a great gig.
Yep.
Guys like Mike Tyson, they're so good at that one thing. And like, I know what level of singular focus I had whenever I was doing like in the real heat of it. Mm-hmm. And that guy had it from when he was 13.
Yeah.
That fire just outburned anything else that he saw all day. And like, man, that's cool. And then when it lines up, that level of obsession lines up with someone who actually has the ability.
Right. That's the key, right? That's the ticker where a lot of people can have this drive and they can have this motivation. They can have these thoughts of that they want it so bad. Maybe they do, man. There's probably a lot of people but they have to have the physical ability, and
have to have both.
It's true. It's 100%. Like that's where you get the greatest athletes of all time to come from, right? The right body type, the right skill set, the right mindset, and they all come together. It's like this perfect storm, and you don't see it very often, but man, when you do, it's something special.
It's incredible to see.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, it's weird. Like had I been more physically gifted, right? Say if I was a little bit taller, able to run a little bit faster, chances are I would have ended up going to play college football.
Right.
I would have been good enough. Like if I was 10% more person, I would have been good enough to go play at that level, Division I football. But that doesn't get me anything in the NFL, right? Like I'm still not going to probably make it at that level.
Yeah.
Just chances fucking are from statistics.
Yeah. Right. If you're basing it purely on statistics, correct. Yeah. Like, are there anomalies? Of course.
And those guys are such freaks.
Yeah.
Like
it's like my kids. They talk about basketball sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, you can play basketball. We're just not gonna put a lot of effort into it.
There's no amount of hard work that gets you into the NBA, my friend. That's a perfect analogy, right? Like, you still got to play to your strengths a little bit.
Got to, man, and your parents, right? Your parents got to help you out a little bit, right? They got to be like, hey, yeah, we can do that. We can play basketball, but we're not going to put a ton of effort into it. And that might just be one of those things that we do like for fun outside the backyard. And let's steer our ship towards those waters where we have some potential, right? Have more potential, I guess to say is a better way to say it.
I think about parents too that like lean into that and can see it early enough. Like think about like someone like Shaun White's parents.
Yeah.
It's easy to see now this kid's killed it forever. But this is a kid who dropped out of school to snowboard. Right. And so like there's a couple things that come from that are way different than growing up as a skateboarder. He was going to ski resorts every year. Right. Like he also spent all summer at Woodward learning how to do all these things.
Yeah.
It wasn't like his parents didn't have their shit together and weren't like rich. His parents had money and had the resources to let him try to do all these things. I find it interesting that two parents who were able to figure their shit out enough were open enough minded to be like, yeah, go try to do this. You can drop out of school.
Right. Yeah.
And good for them.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like they allowed him to be one of the greatest extreme sports athletes of all time, and it was huge.
Done is incredible.
And most
manipulate his body in space is get out of here.
And most parents that are probably in the position that his parents are would probably be like, no, you're going to go to school. You're going to finish your school. And then, if that's something you want to do afterwards, you can do it afterwards.
Now it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of now started looking at my life as like different chapters of athletics, now that the second one's done and kind of what I want to do going forward. And with it being more experience and adventures and whitewater rafting, mountain biking trips, things like that. What about you? Like, so boxing, like, I know you mountain bike. I know.
Yeah. Like I like to shred on my stick. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm going to Colorado. So definitely going to try to get into mountain biking a little bit more. I love mountain biking. It's so much fun. I'm golfing a lot lately. Not that I don't know. Golf's like something you can golf till you die,
Golf's a great skill.
Yeah, it is. It is a frustrating game. I'll leave I play a lot right now, and there's some days where I go out and I'm like, man, I can go pro. I'm really good. and then the next day I'll leave the golf course and I'll be like, why the fuck do I even play this game? I'm so awful. I'm terrible. I'm the worst player ever who's ever played the game. I don't even know why I waste my time with this shit.
Get some new clubs that'll fix this, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Golf's way too expensive. It's too expensive a hobby for me.
It is an expensive hobby. That is so true. But yeah, I don't know, like, I definitely want to get into some, like, I'm not a fisherman. I've never been a fisherman, but I know that I've gone and done fly fishing once, and I loved it so much. And so that is something I want to get into when I'm out in Colorado, because I know they have that, like, more like, rivers and streams that you can go fishing at.
I know some good folks, man. I know some folks up around Fort Collins that do the fly fishing stuff, guys that work for Niner Bikes.
Oh man, awesome. You're gonna have to set me up then, because Fort Collins isn't that far. I think it's like an hour north.
Oh, and those are rad dudes. The Niner Bikes guys are all super, super cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, dude, that area is fun, man. And like, I don't think fly fishing will be in my future. What did you love about it?
For me, it was so relaxing, but there was skill to it. You weren't just sitting, throwing your rod in and waiting for a fish to come on. I would actually, so I had waders on. Well, I didn't have waders on the first time, but I was sitting in like literally nipple deep water, with my rod, and you have to constantly cast it over and over again. And just, I think the cold water was also, I really enjoyed it. It was actually after one of the years where I didn't qualify for the CrossFit Games, and I was like really super bummed. And I had a buddy who had a cabin up in Whitefish, north of Whitefish, actually up in, it was actually in Glacier. The cabin is technically not in Glacier, but you have to go through Glacier to get to it. And there's like no electricity, no TV, no nothing. And so I went out there, and his uncle brought me on some, he kind of showed me and my buddies around and got us out to some good spots for fly fishing. And then we all caught a fish, and the experience was so cool. And it just was so relaxed. And I was like, I loved being in nature and still doing something, but not like as crazy strenuous as usual. But there's still some skill to it. And so it's not like boring, like normal fishing for me is, where you sit on the side of a lake or pond and whatever, it's like you're actually in the water and you're trying to like find where the trout come up and catch the fly, dry flies and stuff like that. So it was a really good time. I loved it.
Hatch, if you will.
What's that?
Hatch the hatch. You gotta.
Yeah, exactly.
Cruising around the lake and then pick your right fly.
So man, I enjoyed it. I just found it really relaxing and really calming, and definitely something I could get into for sure.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's so many different things to do. Like that's the fun part now, like after kind of the pivot of my body kind of coming back online, and after doing the run, like feeling able to do shit again. So I think the next thing I'll do, I'm going to do the Katy Trail. I want to full ride that whole thing, because I know if I don't,
that's long, right? That goes into Iowa.
That's like 240 miles is the stretch I'll do.
Where does it go to?
It's basically like St. Louis to Kansas City to St. Louis.
Oh, okay. So it goes
all the way across the state.
Yeah.
So I'll do that probably in October. That'll be fun. Give me something to train for.
It's a good time of the year to do it. October's perfect time of year there.
I'm not trying to haul ass, but I am trying to spend as much time like doing a thing kind of in that uncomfortable spot as I can.
You're gonna run it, or you're gonna bike it?
Oh, bike it.
Bike it. Okay, cool.
I'll bike pack the whole thing. So like me and probably two buddies will probably drive, ride and sleep probably 2 nights.
Oh, that's awesome. That'll be fun.
It should be fun. I want to do more things like that, more adventures. What you're talking about with the fishing thing, like, dude, the aspects of the disconnect, that I really like, because the world feels really big again, which makes me feel small. Because like when I went on the Grand Canyon trip a couple years ago and like didn't have my phone with me for 2 full weeks, like all of a sudden I realized how far I am from anyone.
Yeah.
Like if I needed help, like I'm a fucking long way out. So have your shit. And I like that. Know that I like that feeling of you're dependent on you.
Yeah.
Nothing else goes on, because if you're not paying attention, you're stuck. Like none of the other noise has to make doesn't matter out there, because it doesn't contribute.
Yeah. My favorite parts of my day are the days I can't be around my phone, and so getting into something where it's going to force that is going to be healthy and good, I think. And so, because right now I just, I don't really have something that forces me 100%, right? Even when I'm training, I'm working out. Yeah. Like I can't be by my phone, but it's right there. It's right, it's by my bag.
You're training and working out for a thing that you have to promote, like that.
Right. Yeah.
Gimmick.
Yeah.
Like having something that's just yours is always really cool.
It is. Yeah, completely. 100%. So
even if that's that currently, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I think we're running up on an hour, man. I super appreciate it, Josh.
No, man, Matt, I always enjoy our conversation, brother. I always enjoy having you having me on. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Dude, next time you're in St. Louis, let me know. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see the fight. Like I go to Iceland for 3 weeks, and then I go to Africa, and then I go to the fight.
Hell yeah. Dude, where are you going in Africa?
So Kelly Starrett invited me and some friends, and we're going to do 3 days of rafting on the Zambezi.
Nice.
Yeah, so full adventure.
Yeah.
We're going to actually like get to camp one night, like on the river, like down in the canyon. So
dude, that's cool.
Pretty excited about it. I'm not super excited about flying to Africa.
That's not a fun flight. That's not a fun flight at all.
Nor am I excited about the amount of hassle that I'm sure that day of travel will just be in general.
That's going to be rough.
For some reason, I don't believe the infrastructure is going to be.
At least you're kind of coming from the East Coast, so it shouldn't be cool. It's going to be a couple hours shorter than my trip. But man, I flew to South Africa once, and it was I flew from San Diego to Seattle straight to Amsterdam straight to Cape Town. Amsterdam. It was 2 13-hour flights back to back with like a 30-minute layover.
Holy shit. Dude,
it was brutal.
Oh,
brutal.
I can't wait till we figure out teleportation.
Right? Exactly.
Whoever's working on other things right now,
yeah,
your time should go to teleportation. If we figure that out, we're set.
Well, yeah, those pods, right, that Elon Musk is coming up with. Those,
figure it out, Elon. Help us.
Do it.
Dude, coffee company, how's that going?
Oh man, good dude's going great. It's coming along. Yeah, we're we dropped out some cool media stuff that we've been working on, and just always trying to grow and figure out new ways. It'd be cool. It's going to be cool once we can maybe do a brick and mortar or have like some sort of office that people can come to. It's something that we're definitely like thinking about, but it's not in the works just yet, but like definitely starting to talk about it.
Like we feel the same way, like with Habit or doing any of that, like gotta have dreams.
Yeah, man. Always, right? Always. Yeah. How's Habit coming along?
Dude, it's going good. I
know I felt like you came out pretty hot with it and then kind of backed off it for a while, then kind of came back to it.
I ran out of fucking RAM. I ran out of operating like system in my head to be able to manage all of it with it being its own thing away from hate. Because it's always done fine selling underneath it. But what I would love for it to be its own standalone thing. And since when there was about a 2-year time that I just didn't have enough people and help to run both. So I just did it all under one site.
Yeah.
Now that I've got a really great team, we're revamping it. We're planning some advertising. We're planning some moves to bump it forward. Like I kind of figured out a few things that I've done really shit, and that's what's fucking up Habit. And figuring that out is going to be great.
Yeah, man. Dude, there's always room for more coffee in the world, right? Everyone like people like go, oh, this coffee. You guys are competing? I'm like, yeah, we're competing. But it's it's like the second most drank commodity in the world. Like, trust me, there's room out there, and I still enjoy trying other coffee companies. So.
I listened to Michael Pollan was on Rogan recently, and he's talking about coffee amongst other things, and talking about it being a drug, and talking about caffeine, and was talking about like how it changed the U.S. And I really dug this little historical bit of it, and it was talking about at that point in the 1700s, late 1700s, most people are kind of drunk all day because there's still not good water to drink. And so you would drink this like low alcohol wine, or you drink mead, or you drink this really kind of shitty beer, or you drink booze, because we figured out how to drink those, and you never got sick from them because they have been boiled in the distillation process. So until we started drinking more coffee and tea, we still weren't boiling water that we were drinking. Everything that we drank that didn't make us sick had booze in it. So we're kind of a drunk society. Even kids, like they would give hard cider to at breakfast.
Really?
Because it didn't make anyone sick.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Better than getting fucking, getting tapeworms or any other type of thing.
Yeah.
then our society pivots when we get tea and we get coffee. So we go from being moderately drunk to now stimulated, getting more antioxidants and good stuff. Like, production in our country took off by like 300 or 400%, like at different businesses.
Yeah, I bet you're right. Yeah, getting just shit done.
Right? And then that's what we just weren't ever supposed to drink it as much as I think we do, but here we are.
It's so weird hearing, because it depends on who you listen to, right? There's people out there that say you should drink 30 cups of coffee a day. And those are the people who live the longest. And then you hear people who say you shouldn't drink any coffee a day, 0 coffee, right? 0 caffeine. And so it all depends on who you're talking to. Nutrition is such a hard thing. It's such a hard topic.
Both of the people, both let me know that I was going to die at some point, right?
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So
we're going to go ahead and put as much in the system as I feel like putting in.
Yeah, and if you get too anxious off too much coffee, don't drink as much coffee. But if you're fine with it, you're fine with it. Who gives a shit, right? I don't know.
I'm trying to be very electric all day.
Right, just getting fired up, ready to go.
My podcast studio looks like such a disaster. I have like a pile of Monster cans and like thing over there, and then like a handful of joints sitting next to me. Like the third one of these I've done in a row today.
Oh man,
it was just a day that I had them ready to go, and so it's been really cool. But like you've done them,
yeah.
You do a show with Matt
and Savan, yep. And Savan's was the head of media at CrossFit for 12 years, 13 years. So he was literally like, there was the owner, and then Savan was right below him, head of all of media of CrossFit. So, he actually helped me out a ton in my career because he had the camera in front of my face and people got to hear my story, and some people liked it, and it's helped me out tremendously. Some people don't like him. Some people don't like, they just don't have that taste for him. He's definitely a certain type of guy, and I appreciate him. And so, and then obviously Matt being the 5-time CrossFit Games winner, he's got his stuff, and Matt obviously. And so
recently, man,
yeah, great.
The first time I've ever got to cross paths with him was on the motorcycle trip.
Yeah, great dude. And so we're, it's a fun thing. I think we're doing a podcast tomorrow. So.
Right on. Yeah, he's a freak, man. He's
yeah.
It's very, very interesting to hear him talk. Very interesting to hear like what makes him tick and go. And
it's not what you expect, right?
No, it is not.
No,
it's really a lot different than I expected, but and it's a lot different than me, which is great. I'm not. Yeah, I figured out how this one works. I like other people that are other.
I'm the same way, man. I like all types of people. It's the best. Like if you're around the same type of people, it gets boring.
That I'm trying to learn anything that's possible from someone like you.
Fact.
And across the board, right? Like, so yeah, man, those guys are fucking cool. That motorcycle trip was unreal, man.
Yeah, that looked really awesome. Yeah. You, Steph and Matt and who else? Yeah. And Hayden. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Good stuff.
Well, dude, next time you're in town, let me know.
We'll do.
And have to come check out the gym and we'll podcast in here.
For sure. I want to. In fact, yeah. So I don't know when I'll get out there again, but yeah, I'll let you know.
Build the fight anyway, so
yeah, right.
Where's it? Jacksonville now?
Yeah, Jacksonville. They had to switch to Jacksonville. I'm not really 100% sure what the full reasons are, but who cares?
I'm going all out though. I need to get a suit made.
I got one. I got a girl for you. I'll shoot you my contact. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank God. I definitely need to be on top of that because I'm also not home now between now and the fight very much.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's I'm having mine built out right now. My like I think I've had bone. Yeah, I got the cool inside, and so I'm excited. It'll be fun. I mean, I'm not a suit guy at all, but
I'm gonna do it. I'm coming out extra to. Dude, all my friends are fighting.
Right, exactly.
I have 3 Finns fighting on the main. All right,
let's do this. I know, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Just be hype.
Yep, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun.
Josh, I appreciate it, dude, and I'll put where to find everything about you.
Appreciate you, Matt.